The city lay wrapped in silence beneath a soft quilt of snow, its streets glimmering under golden streetlights as if the stars themselves had fallen to the earth. From the 40th floor of a glass tower that pierced the winter sky, Nicholas Hale watched the world move without him. The man everyone called the miracle CEO, who turned a failing tech company into a global empire before he was 35, sat alone in a penthouse big enough to echo his own heartbeat. It was Christmas Eve. The city below was alive with laughter, music, and the distant smell of roasted chestnuts, but inside his walls of glass and steel, there was only the ticking of a clock and the sound of a single glass being filled. His assistant had begged him to attend the company party. His board members had sent him expensive bottles of wine. But Nicholas had declined them all. He told everyone he preferred solitude, that he liked the quiet. The truth was, he just didn't know what warmth felt like anymore. Since his parents' sudden death 6 Christmases ago, holidays had become nothing more than a cruel reminder of absence. He sat at the piano in the corner of the room, the same one his mother used to play while his father sang softly off-key, and touched the keys without pressing them. The dust on its surface reflected how long it had been since music filled this home. The glass windows trembled as wind howled outside, carrying the faint sound of carolers in the distance. Nicholas looked down at the glass in his hand, then back at the snow swirling through the night, and for the briefest moment, he wished, just wished, he wasn't alone. That was when he saw her. Far below, near the building entrance, a woman stood by the bus stop, clutching grocery bags against the biting wind. She wore a red scarf, its color bright and alive against the white storm. She looked lost, uncertain, like someone who had been forgotten by time. Nicholas squinted, watching her check her phone repeatedly, stomp her feet for warmth, then glance down the empty street. No buses were running this late, not on Christmas Eve. He didn't know why he moved, but something in him refused to watch her freeze from 30 floors up. He set his drink down, grabbed his coat, and stepped into the elevator before his logic could talk him out of it. When he reached the lobby, she was still there, her breath forming soft clouds in the cold air. He approached slowly, not wanting to startle her. "Excuse me," he said gently. She turned sharply, clutching her bag tighter. "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you there." Her voice was warm, soft, a bit embarrassed. "Are you waiting for someone?" he asked. "A bus," she said with a faint laugh. "But it looks like they stopped running hours ago." She looked down the road again, snow piling on her shoulders. "My car broke down near school, and I thought I'd take the last bus home." "Guess I missed it," he nodded. "You're a teacher." "Kindergarten," she said, smiling slightly despite the cold. "I stayed late decorating for the Christmas party. The kids deserve something special." Her eyes lit up when she mentioned them, and Nicholas felt a strange warmth in his chest, something he hadn't felt in years. "You can't walk in this," he said, glancing at the storm. "You'll freeze before you get 2 blocks. She hesitated. "It's fine. I live about a mile away. I'll be okay." He looked at her, genuinely concerned. "At least come inside and warm up for a while." The lobby's heated. She seemed unsure, shifting her weight. "I don't usually go with strangers," she said with a cautious laugh. "Neither do I," he replied softly. "But tonight, maybe we both could use a bit of company." After a pause, she nodded. The warmth of the lobby hit her like sunlight after a storm. Nicholas led her to the elevator, his calm voice breaking the silence. "I live upstairs. There's hot coffee, or tea, if you prefer." She blinked, surprised. "You're inviting me up." "It's Christmas Eve," he said simply. "I'd rather not see someone spend it freezing outside." When the elevator doors opened, she stepped into the penthouse and froze. The space was breathtaking. Floor-to-ceiling windows, marble floors, shelves of books, and a view that stretched for miles. Yet there was something haunting about it. "You live here alone?" she asked quietly. "Always," he said, setting down his coat. She sat carefully on the couch, her eyes wandering around. "It's beautiful," she whispered. "And a little sad." He smiled faintly. "That's an accurate description." He made her cocoa, rich and warm, and sat across from her. They began to talk. She told him about her students. The little boy who always colored outside the lines, the shy girl who brought her a paper star every Christmas, the way their laughter made even bad days feel bearable. They remind me what love looks like, she said softly. He listened, lost in her words, realizing how small his own world had become. When she asked about him, he hesitated, then told her about his parents, about the way his mother's music filled this room once, and how everything went silent after they were gone. I stopped celebrating, he admitted quietly. It felt wrong to be happy without them. Claire, as she told him her name, reached out, her fingers brushing his hand gently. Maybe happiness isn't about forgetting, she said. Maybe it's about remembering differently. The words hit him like warmth after endless cold. When midnight struck, she whispered, "Merry Christmas, Nicholas." He hadn't heard that in 6 years. Something in his chest cracked open. "Merry Christmas, Claire," he whispered back. She noticed the piano in the corner. "Would you play something?" He froze. "I haven't touched it in years." "Then maybe tonight's the night," she said softly. He hesitated, then sat down, pressing a single key. The sound trembled through the room. Then another. Then more. Before he knew it, the melody flowed, slow and broken, but real. Claire sat by the fireplace, eyes closed, as the room filled with music and memory. When he finished, silence followed, gentle, not heavy. She stood, smiling through tears. "Your mother would be proud," she said. He wanted to thank her, but the words stuck in his throat. She checked her phone. "The snow's not letting up," she murmured. He looked out the window, then turned back to her. "Stay," he said suddenly. "Just for one night." She blinked, surprised. "Are you sure?" He nodded. "I don't want to be alone tonight." "Not anymore." She hesitated, then smiled softly. "Just one night," she whispered. That night, they sat by the fire, wrapped in a blanket, talking until the flames burned low. They shared small stories, his first job, her childhood Christmases, the dreams they never had time to chase. When she laughed, the room felt alive again. When she finally fell asleep on the couch, her head resting lightly against his shoulder, Nicholas stayed awake, watching the snow fall and realizing something in him had shifted. For the first time in years, he wasn't waiting for Christmas to end. When morning came, sunlight poured through the curtains, scattering gold across the floor. Nicholas stirred to the sound of soft humming. He followed it and found Claire in the kitchen, hair tousled, wearing one of his shirts, flipping pancakes with clumsy grace. The sight almost didn't feel real. "Good morning," she said brightly. "I found eggs and flour in your fridge, though I'm not sure when you last used them." He laughed, a sound foreign even to himself. "I didn't know anyone could make this place feel alive." They ate at the counter, the city stretching endless outside the window. She told him about her small apartment, the stray cat that slept outside her door, the children who made her handmade cards every year. He listened like a man hearing sunlight. She had no wealth, no power, but her world was rich in a way his had never been. After breakfast, she noticed a box near the window. "What's that?" she asked. He sighed. "A Christmas tree. Bought it years ago. Never opened it." She grinned. "Then let's fix that." Together they assembled the small tree, stringing lights and ornaments until the living room glowed with color. She hung the final piece, a golden star, at the top. "There," she said proudly. "Now it feels like Christmas." He watched her, realizing how her laughter filled every corner, how her kindness had thawed the coldest part of him. The day passed in a gentle blur of warmth and laughter. They baked cookies, watched old holiday movies, and talked about everything, their fears, their dreams, their pasts. For Nicholas, it was like breathing again. But as evening settled, she grew quiet. "I should go," she said softly. His heart sank. "You don't have to," he said quickly. "Stay a little longer." She shook her head, smiling sadly. "You gave me a warm place to stay. You gave me a beautiful day. But you don't need me to fill this space anymore, Nicholas. You just needed to remember that it can still be filled." She slipped a small note into his hand and put on her scarf. He followed her to the elevator, his chest heavy. "Will I see you again?" he asked. She smiled faintly. "Maybe next Christmas." When the doors closed, he stood there for a long time, staring at the empty space she left behind. Finally, he unfolded the note. Inside were a few simple words. Don't wait for happiness to find you. Create it. It's been waiting all along. Merry Christmas, Claire. A small paper star fell from the fold, the kind a child might make in class. Nicholas turned toward the tree they'd decorated. The lights twinkled softly, reflecting in his eyes. He sat down by the fire, the paper star in his hand, and felt something shift deep inside him. The room didn't feel empty anymore. For the first time in years, it felt like home. In the years that followed, Nicholas changed. He reopened his company's charity foundation, started funding schools, and spent Christmas at orphanages in classrooms filled with laughter instead of silence. Every year, a red scarf hung by his fireplace, and a paper star glowed from the top of his tree. He never saw Claire again, but he didn't need to. Because her warmth, her words, and her single night of kindness had done something no fortune ever could. It had brought his heart back to life. And every Christmas Eve, when snow began to fall and the city lights shimmered below, Nicholas would sit at his piano once more. He'd play the same melody he played that night, the one that healed him, and whisper into the quiet, "Merry Christmas, Claire." And though she was gone, the warmth that filled the room made him certain she heard him still.